Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Write With Me. I'm Danita Jones, and here we do two 25-minute sprints with a 5 to 10-minute break in between. And so this is your productivity hour. I'm doing research on Peter Crosby. Some people here are writing and getting their word count up. This is November, so a lot of people are still doing the NaNoWriMo, which is great, even though NaNoWriMo um, officially is not doing it anymore, but Pro Writing Aid is doing it, sponsoring it this year. So that's enough of my chatter for this morning. I'm a little sleepy and tired, but I'm about to hit this button and get started. Where did I leave off yesterday? Mm. Mm. righty. Time for our little break. Let's see who's here. Welcome, Molly Dot. You say I'm going to do some language study via Lingo Legend. Okay, cool. And welcome, Middle Kid. Good morning. And thank you for the coffee. I saw that it came through. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So, what are you working on today, Middle Kid? And I see there are a couple more people here today. Drop in the chat what you're working on. Working on drinking your coffee. And so I see a couple more people here. Drop in the chat what you're working on today, what you're trying to accomplish. And I'm here to support you in your journey of writing and getting things done this morning. I am still going over Andrew Owen's testimony, going over my notes, and actually adding some more things to my notes because I see that as I'm some things I had skipped over during my first pass of notes, but now that I'm moving things into Scrivener, I'm just seeing how some of the details are really important for filling out the scene work. So I'm like, since I'm here, I might as well drop all that in there right now instead of going back and forth when it's time to actually get to the scene work. But it's really, really interesting. I just love going through all of these old testimonies, even though it takes a long time, but just to get the perspective of, takes place in 1874. And actually, and at the testimony is actually in 1875 because at the top of the year, they started the testimonies on January 1st, I think it was, or was it even December 31st? But they worked on the new year on the holiday. What did you say, Middle Kid? Waking up still. I'm working on a sci-fi time travel idea that's been floating around, and I want to put the ideas on paper because it's pretty dense. Yeah, it's so much better to just, get it down on the page instead of just constantly thinking about it, and then therefore you can just see what you have and where things could go, what, which pathway you want to go with. So yeah, so I'm glad you're here getting that done, getting it out of your head and getting it onto the page. So let's see, what else am I dealing with Andrew? And it's, when you think about, especially for Black history, during that time in the 1800s, a lot of people, or we assume, or the way it's been written, history seems like we were such docile people. But when you read like the encounters right now with Andrew and the people, the group of men that he brought up to defend Crosby or support Crosby getting back into office. And for those that don't know much about Peter Crosby, I have a bio in my description. I was asked to be a contributor to enslaved.org, and which is headed by Stephen Niven at Harvard and Henry Louis Gates Jr. I wrote Peter Crosby's bio because Stephen wasn't familiar with Peter. And so anyway, so when I read right now of Andrew, who was a Black man, and he was leading these other Black men into town to support Peter getting back in office, Dr. Hunt, who's an older white man, he came up on horseback to try to prevent them from coming into town. But the younger fellas, the younger Black fellas, they were not having it. They were not. Andrew felt that they were being very disrespectful of Dr. Hunt. But when I read more about what Dr. Hunt was up to, I see why they were that way. Because his character, him as a person, and again, is different times, but he was the doctor of the town, but he also, during this time period of what's going on with the Vicksburg massacre, things leading up to the Vicksburg massacre, he was letting people know that you're going to die, the Black people, if you stay out here, and there's nothing I can do about it, and I may even kill you myself, and so when I heard that, then I was like, okay, I see why the youngsters who were just not, feeling him at all said what they said. So the dichotomy of everyone's interactions is pretty fascinating, I find. So, but it's time to get back to our next sprint. Unless anyone has any questions about anything, any questions about writing, or what I'm writing about, just let me know. Or you can always drop it in the chat, and I check my answer after the next sprint. All right, let's get going. Oh, goodness. Okay, so now it comes together. All righty. That is that time. Okay. Let's see. Little kid says, what do you use to write software? And what tips can you give on being organized? I'm sure working on a historical piece means lots of notes and ideas. How do you go about without getting overwhelmed? Those are great questions. I use Scrivener for actually writing the novel and organizing it. I also use the notes document where that's part of the Mac, and I use that so I can also, if I have ideas while I'm out, I can also put them in my phone. But I loved all the various categories and divisions that you can do in Scrivener as far as like listing your characters and just having like the scene work and the setting. I'm actually not even have it up on my screen now. Let's see here. Um, I can drop um, pages of the actual testimony, because what I'm planning on doing for the novel is using also excerpts from the actual testimonies inside the novel. And so for the ones that I know I want to use, I'm also just taking a screenshot of that and placing it into my Scrivener document. But yeah, so I basically have it all contained digitally. And then, like for the books that I research, like this is one of the main ones I've used, Roots of Disorder. And I have a lot more like behind the screen here that, it's not really super organized. I have my post-it notes, but I try to um, take the information from here and then also drop it into Scrivener just so I can have it in one localized place. And it does get a bit overwhelming sometimes because even just as recent as last week, when I was going over, revisiting some of this material, I was like, gosh, I still have so long to go. I have a long way to go. Because right now I'm still just going over the testimonies regarding the massacre, but I'm planning this out in a 3-book series. And for book one, I'm going to be dealing a lot with two, not only just Peter Crosby, but two of the other people that were accused. Um, they were Black politicians that were, well, one was wrongfully accused. I'm still not, the verdict is still out on one other one, but I've got to start really getting more material about them. Like I have newspaper articles that I read about them, and there are certain mentions of them in this book that I just held up. But I want more. But even if it's not, hey, some books are just written based off of just an article, and so, but I just really want to have, I want to be able to honor the people as much as I can that were really there. It's historical fiction, so not everything will be, of course, verbatim of what happened, uh, but I want to keep it as truthful and as accurate as possible. So, hope that answers your question. And good morning, Shanae. How are you? And you're working on your novella pages today. Okay, great. Awesome. Awesome. So that is my time for today. Let's see. Oh, yeah, today is Friday. And so you're very welcome. And so I wish you all a very wonderful weekend and happy Friday today. I don't know if you guys are out here in LA. I know Shanae, you are. So stay dry. We have this big storm that's coming through. It started raining last night. And so we expect to get some heavy rainfall throughout the weekend. And it's going to continue to rain Monday and Tuesday. So everyone stay safe and have a great day. See you next week.